So I've been refining this trade plan for 2 or 3 years. It's passed me my first FTMO challenge, it got me to the FTMO leaderboards, and even earned me a 6-figure profit in January. It's basically been my Bible for the last 2 or 3 years, and recently it had its biggest update yet. It features things like how I enter trades, how I manage my trades or exit my trades, how much I risk on my funded accounts, and even when not to take trades. Each of my pairs has its own checklist. So on AJ, for example, I have the pair characteristics in the top left corner. I know that this pair trends more correctively than other pairs. You tend to get a feeling of how a pair moves, but it's good to have more specific pair characteristics in the corner when you're about to take a trade. I've also got high probability price action for the pair. I've got generic ones like a continuation pattern from really trending price action, or a reversal from a smaller descending within a larger descending. Those are great on every pair, but I've got more specific details as well, like a combo, for example. Combos on AJ work out better than any other pair probably, and especially when it's coming from an inside bar. I've got all the patterns that I trade here as well, so let's look at the continuation, for example. I want an impulsive break from an established trend, and I want an especially impulsive break if we're coming through a liquidity area or if prior price action is trending correctively. If the break has huge wicks or large wicks, then it's invalidated. And on this pair, this is a pair characteristic, I think I've got it up there. Yep, larger pullbacks are okay. I'm willing to tolerate a large single candle pullback, especially to an inside bar. Seems to reject a lot of the inside bars, they're really good. I have also got a note to avoid an engulfing, but we'll talk more about this later. And then at the end of every single one of these checklists, I've got no shift in momentum, because I want price to move up, but I don't want to see any shift on the way back down. That's what an engulfing would show me. I've also written how lenient I can be from high probability price action, which is up here in the corner. So for example, a continuation pattern from really trending price action, I'm more willing to tolerate double wicks or an aggressive retrace. I'm also more willing to tolerate it on a Monday morning or Friday afternoon when it's a bit riskier to hold a trade, because on Monday morning price action can be quite range bound, and on a Friday evening you hold the risk of having to hold the trade over the weekend. As well, in case I'm ever uncertain of a trade, which doesn't happen very often, I've got all my backtesting data here so I can have some references. So over the past 2 years, like I said, I poured everything into this trade plan, and I really wanted to give it away, but it didn't make sense. It was just too valuable, and I put way too much work into it. So I thought the people that really want it, I thought I'd give them the option to purchase it. I've put it on Gumroad with the link in the description. But what I am willing to show you for free is the updated version, because I recently made a huge update to it, like I said at the beginning. So here's the updated version. Yeah, I know, it's tiny. So you're probably thinking, that's not an upgrade. Where's all the trading data gone? I've reduced it to only 5 variables, basically just the key elements. I've completely stripped it back. So you're probably thinking, why have I done this? Well, the more I've been trading, the more I realized that trading can be treated as a science or an art. And I've been finding that my trade plan has been putting me in trades that I didn't quite like. I think I may have outgrown it a little bit. And although it was easy to follow, it was maybe a little bit too rigid. There were times where my trade plan would give me an entry, but my gut disagreed with it. And I realized that all the experience I've gained from backtesting, that trade plan is almost holding me back. I'm not able to use the experience I've gained of the market. So there were times where I couldn't, where my trade plan didn't align with my personal opinion or my subconscious, which just didn't make sense for me. So I started trading a bit more intuitively. You may have heard Mark Douglas talking about this in Trading in the Zone. The most experienced traders kind of get in the flow of the market or something like that, you know? And I've kind of been feeling that recently. Like, the context behind every trade is different. Every trade is coming from unique price action, and there's no way that you can make that black and white, in my opinion. Everything is kind of on a scale or a gradient for me now. So this new checklist uses these 5 open-ended variables. You could have them as questions, but I really like keeping it simple. So how do you use this checklist? So when I look at my checklist, I think, how much weight do these variables hold in context of one another? So for example, my friend Aaron always says it's like building a story. The market phase may be excellent, price action may be perfect, you got a beautiful descending channel, but the setup itself might be average, and that might not be worth the risk if there's too many warning signs, or if it's the wrong day of the week, like a Monday or a Tuesday, when it's more likely to be range bound. However, price action might be range bound, and the entry is perfect, there's no warning signs, and it's on a Thursday when we know that we're likely to get trends. And this is when it might be worth taking a trade. So in my mind, when I'm looking at this trade plan, you're kind of doing all these little +1s and -1s, like card counting, I guess, and then you got to decide if it's worth it, net positive or net negative. There was a period where I thought about making a trade plan with a scoring system, but God, that would have just been impossible. I really tried, but then the variables hold different weight in context of one another. So for example, I could give descending channel a +3, but then if it's coming from range bound price action before that descending channel, it shouldn't be +3. It's not worth the same. Like, some descending channels are better than others, you know? So it just didn't work for me anymore. And I had to learn to use this new checklist because I'm a really mechanical person and I love systems. That's what got me into trading in the first place. I was trading with EAs. I was having EAs developed and having a bot trade for me. So that should illustrate how much I love the fact that trading, it can be so mechanical. But the way that I'm trading now, it just wasn't aligning with my personality anymore. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the other checklist. I'm still going to use it sometimes if I forget a pair characteristic, for example. It's just that I wanted more flexibility. I wanted a more discretionary checklist. I actually did a poll the other day to see how many of you use a discretionary checklist, and most of you use a non-discretionary checklist. And then there's the rest of you that don't use a trade plan at all. So if you want to discuss anything from this video with me, I respond to every comment, and recently I've started offering coaching calls, so there's a link for that in the description if you're interested in that. If you found this video helpful, it would mean a lot to me if you could like the video or subscribe if you want to see my future videos. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully see you in the next one.